everybody, my name is Colt Cherry, and this is my 1988 Mazda RX7. As you can see, this car is going to need quite a bit of work to get running. I think the plan right now is we're going to take everything out of it, get it all repainted, looking nice, cleaned up, and then everything's going back in. Not sure if this engine runs. I bought it about 6 months ago now, and the guy before me tried to get it running, couldn't. Thought it was a fuel issue and chopped up the wiring harness. So now I have his wiring headache to fix and figure out. I don't think it will run. It turns freely, but I took off the coolant lines and the radiator and it was full of rust. So I imagine most of the engine probably is. The guy I bought it from said he let it sit for about a year, couldn't get it to run, and the guy he bought it from let it sit in a garage for who knows how long. So, gonna have to figure all that out. Back here, we got fuel pump hanger with random wires going to random places, cut, trimmed, doing who knows what. Pretty sure this tank is full of rust, so that's gonna need replaced, which I have a plan for that, which we'll get to eventually. Interior is pretty much all ripped out. As you can see, most of it's gonna be redone. I don't think I'm gonna end up doing a full interior in here. It's gonna be more of a OEM Plus kind of interior. Stock dash, carpet, some of the stock trim pieces. I think a lot of it's gonna be replaced. So I think I'm gonna start by pulling the intake and alternator and a few of the other things off, see how much space that clears up for me, and then start pulling lines and wires to see what happens. I might have got a little carried away, forgot to give you guys updates, but got pretty much this whole side of the engine bay cleaned out. Intake, alternator pulled out, the stock harness pulled out. It's a mess. Spliced wires for just about every connection that it had. So probably won't be saving this. Save the connectors off of it. Wiper motor, it's wanting to fight me. Cannot get this off of there to save my life. So far it's coming along. Thing I did find while pulling the intake off is a little bit of oil in the intake, and this car did not have an OMP hooked up, so that is not good. I'm gonna say at least the rear rotor probably detonated. Blew some oil in there. I haven't pulled spark plugs out yet, haven't checked. I guess I could check the oil. I mean, it looks good. Doesn't look like seals broke. Pulled off a coolant line. I didn't think this engine had any coolant left in it, but it definitely did. Dumped that all over the floor. That's where we're at right now. Bring you back in a little bit. Hopefully have this whole side of the engine bay taken out, but it's seeming a lot harder than that side was. We'll see. Alright, so couldn't get much more taken out of that right side. Decided I'd lift the car up, clean my mess, see what we got going on under here. So from the looks of it, there's some pretty decent 10 adjustable coilovers. Not sure how good a condition they're in. We'll figure that out eventually. It's got racing beat headers all the way back. I'm not sure if this is how they look stock when they come from racing beat. They might have been adjusted a little bit. I don't know if these are previous welds or not. Adjustable coilovers back here. Sway bar. Looks like it has some new of the Energy Performance bushings. I can't tell if that is them or not. Pretty sure they are. Which is kind of nice. Spiders decided they wanted to make a nest all the way in here. We got that cleaned out. Looks like the previous owner also painted the entire bottom of the car. I don't see any rust down here. Just gotta hope there's none underneath all the paint. Looks pretty solid. Fuel tank, I'm gonna be pulling out here soon. This tub might be getting cut out. I don't really need it. Diff will have to come out. I think it's locking up. Doesn't want to roll too well from just pushing it. So I got all these dollies. Drive shaft looks good. Hard lines all look good. All this rubber fuel line is going to be redone. Probably going to switch to AN lines after this tank gets dropped. I think I'll be swapping over to a fuel cell to put in there. That's where we're at right now. Car's looking good. All the bearings and the wheels, ball joints seem pretty solid. Update. Exhaust. It's full of wasps. There was a whole nest of them. They all came falling out. There's definitely still more in there. They like PB Blaster. I don't think they like it. They definitely ain't feeling them though. They just started attacking. Fighting back. Well, since that wasn't enough, they decided to spread all around this car. Spiders and wasps took this thing over. Okay, so pulled the old fuel tank out. As you can see, it is, I think, beyond saving. So full of rust. And since a new fuel tank, OEM one, is like $900, what we're gonna do, I think, is get a fuel cell from Summit. Hopefully a 20-gallon. From frame rail to frame rail, we got plenty of room. The only issue is the back of the diff here to this, only about 18 inches. I want the 20-gallon tank. So this tub here is definitely gonna have to come out and we'll make it work. Put a new fuel pump in, run new fuel lines, look a lot better, work a lot better. But that will be the next video, hopefully. I got a good bit of work done today on the car. Got a lot of the engine bay cleaned out. I think tomorrow I'll focus more on this stuff. I just didn't want to deal with the headache of it. Got to get the lights pulled out, horns, small stuff. Brake lines are going to have to come out, which I think I'll pull those whenever I get to the suspension. Oil cooler, which I didn't want to pull out because I'm not sure how much oil is in the engine. So I'll have to drain that at some point. See the fuel tank. is out. It's over there. Fuel pump. Measuring it out. I think I'm definitely gonna have to cut into the back of this. Take this little tub out here. I'm not really sure what that tub is for. So with that tank out, I was able to measure the area underneath from the diff back to this is about 18 inches. So if I cut this tub out, I can get at least 20-24. Then from frame rail to frame rail is like close to 30 inches. So I was looking at the Summit 20-gallon tank, which should fit in there. It is 24 by 20. And then run new fuel filter and lines. That'll meet up with the engine we put in here. It will still be rotary, just not this one, I don't think. I think parts of this engine will come out and be used, but looking at the oil in the intake and how dirty some of the coolant was that came out of here, I think this engine probably has some pretty bad times. And it's covered in oil down here. Definitely blew seals at some point, and who knows how much worse. So this is as far as I'm gonna get for today. All right, it's been a few days from that last clip. Things got a little hectic, so I didn't record too much, but I'll catch you up on where I'm at. I got quite a bit of the engine bay pulled out. It's looking good. Got some of the interior pulled out. I'll go over with you guys how far I got. Last clip, I had this out. I'll talk more about that in a minute. I now have the full engine harness on this side pulled out, which is not easy. Got the oil cooler pulled out, headlights off, everything from the front of the car is completely pulled out. Engine bay is almost completely cleaned up, still with the brake lines to get to. The steering column needs to come out. Other than that, the clutch reservoir, that down there, heat shielding, that's got to come out. I got the wiper motor off, just had to pull it off that little ball joint in there. On the inside, all the wiring is taken out here. Steering wheel, dash, center console, all that's pulled out. Wiring all the way to the back of the car is pulled out. I'll go over pulling the wiring harness. This side, very easy. This side, not so much. Okay, so the wiring on this side of the car, pretty simple. Comes from this hole here, has a grommet, runs down the side along this frame rail, up to about this area. Connects your MAF, pressure and sensor right here, your injectors, a few other things. Pulling that, just easy as unplugging every connector, following it back to about here, and then on the inside of the car, it'll come down through that hole there, and there's a few connections that bolt to this plate in here that it plugs into, and then it comes down, grounds, and plugs into your ECU with one of the connectors. That one, just unplug in here, and then pull that grommet, and then pull it up and out through that hole. Pretty simple. Now your driver's side harness, a little more complicated. It's the main harness of the car. It'll come out this hole here with the grommet. It'll run down underneath your trailing coil packs, over underneath all these brake lines, along your frame rail. It'll ground out in a few spots around here. Come up, connect to your battery, your fuse box, your leading coil packs, and it wraps around the front of the car here. She'll connect into all your relays up on this, your headlights, your turn signals. Then it connects to a few things down here, run back to your starter and a few sensors on the engine. Pulling that's pretty easy, just unplugging things, pulling them out. Now where it gets complicated, when you get inside the car. So it'll come down through that hole here, and you'll have your main fuse box plugged in There'll be a nut on that bracket, and then there's a U bracket above it, which wraps around the back of your fuse box. This is hard to get to. I had to take a tiny screwdriver, kind of push on both ends to get it to open up and pop off there. And still, I bent the bracket that it connects to. There's just no way to get to it with the fuse box on there. And this harness comes through and it doesn't have a plug for the fuse box. It's just wired straight into it. So to pull that harness though, you have to have the fuse box out of the way. But to get the fuse box out of the way, you have to pull the harness on the interior of the car, which will run right along here. It goes back and up over this, powers your fuel pump, and also all your tail lights, your side markers, your rear hatch, defroster, everything wraps around the whole back of the car. It also has a leg that comes off the fuse box, goes up into the dash, will come up over your steering column here. It'll plug into the back of your dash. Also plugs in to all of these off of your ignition and steering wheel. After it wraps here, it'll shoot back and connect up to your firewall, connect up to your dummy cluster, your center console, radio, heater, everything in there. And it wraps down back into the passenger footwell, comes around here underneath your ECU, and it has two plugs into the ECU that you'll need to unplug. So for this one, I'd start at your ECU, work your way back this way. Definitely take everything out. This is pretty much impossible to get to if you still have everything in the way. Taking the steering wheel and the gauge cluster off makes this a whole lot easier. Now, if you're gonna pull your harness, piece of advice, don't do it unless you absolutely have to. These cars are very old, and especially back in that area for some reason, almost every single connector that I took off just crumbled in my hands. So they're all gonna need replaced, can't use them anymore. And I can show it to you if I climb back there. Of course, the hatch doesn't work, so we gotta climb on through here. And this one, you can see, as soon as I pressed the unlock on it, it just completely crumbled in my hand. Little pieces on this side, just about every connector back here. A lot more on the harness itself, but still something to be careful of. This connector here, I don't know why, if it's just my car, but I could not get this off for the longest time. I took like 15 minutes of struggling with a tiny little screwdriver trying to get that guy out. And then when you're pulling this harness, it's also going to be connected into the side of the car with little plastic brackets, and your hatch and fuel lines to open both of those are connected to those little plastic brackets. So little plastic brackets also love to explode when you take them off. So I'd keep in mind, if you're going to be pulling that, expect to replace some connectors and clips. And if you don't have to pull your harness, don't do it. I'm only doing it because everything's got to come out of this car. If you're just pulling it out to pull a few wires out, it's really not worth it. You'd be better off just running new wires and connecting them into the connections that they go to. Other than that, got the oil cooler out. The oil lines here. I haven't unplugged them from the engine yet. I'll do that when I pull the engine. Pulling off these trim panels, pretty easy. You gotta watch though. Just like the connectors, it's 30, 40-year-old plastic. They will break. So be prepared to replace some of those if you do that. But yeah, that's where I'm at so far. I think now I'm gonna start pulling the interior out, get the full dash out, seats out, and just get this car almost ready for paint. While I'm here, might as well show you how to pull these seats out. So these seats are gonna have 4 bolts, one here, then kind of see it. One down here, then one on the other side. These bolts are 14 millimeters. You're gonna want an extension like this on your ratchet. Makes getting to these back bolts a whole lot easier. All right, once you get those 4 bolts out, the seat should lift up. You'll probably find some free trash underneath your seat, which is nice. But those bolts connect to here, to here, to the back of this nub here, and into this nub here. And that's just those 4 bolts, pulls all that out. All right, your passenger seat's gonna be a little different. Instead of having a bolt on the rail down here, they relocated it to up on the trans tunnel right there. Still a 14 mil, and all your other bolts still here, 2 in the back, should be the same. Passenger seat out, show you the bolt holes again. So you'll have this one up here, this one down here, one in the back of this nub, one in the back of this nub. Once again, you'll probably find a whole bunch of free trash underneath your seat. After pulling the seats out, I'm gonna get these seat belt hooks off. These are a 16 mil socket. One thing to look out for if you're pulling your seats is on some of the more rusty cars, these bolts like to rust in. It can make a pretty easy job a lot harder. So if you have a pretty rusty car, I'd definitely soak these bolts in some penetrating oil of some sort. Let them get loosened up a little bit before you start cranking on them, because you really don't want to have to drill and re-tap into this stuff. It's some pretty thin metal in a pretty rough spot. Not easy to work with. So just keep that in mind if you have a rustier car and you're pulling your seats out. While we're on seat belts, get the actual seat belt pulled out. You're gonna have a 16 mil bolt up here, a 16 mil bolt here. This cap flips up, another 16 mil bolt, and then you're gonna have a couple screws on that little bracket to take out. We'll get all those out, pull this chunk out. But because of how old these are, screwdriver just wanted to strip that head out, but a 10 mil socket will also work. So once you have all that taken out, this should just slide right out as a whole assembly. Just like that. Passenger side comes out just the same as the driver's does. Now, on to getting the dash out. For pulling the dash out, I'm not going to really do a tutorial on it because all the hard parts were already pulled out when I bought the car. So all I have left to do is a few screws on this side and that side to take off these vent covers, and then just some bolts around the edges of the dash that hold it in. So I'm gonna get that done, start pulling it out, try to wiggle it out of the car by myself. We'll see how that goes. Dash is out. Knowing what I know now, I absolutely would have done this before I tried taking all this electrical out. Even getting into here would have been 1,000 times easier if the dash wasn't in the way. But live and learn. If you're gonna pull your harness, definitely take the dash out first. All right, I'll catch you up where I'm at. I'm about to pack up for the night. So far, got the dash out as you saw. Pulled that little door off, this one off. There is some rust inside that one that'll have to be fixed at some point. Got to get the handbrake off still. Probably have to get under the car to pull that. Got these cables coming off. Couldn't get it off the rear hatch, so I'm going to have to come back to that. Around back of the car. Taillights are off. Just about everything is pulled out of here. Got the 2 covers there. I have to get the hatch connections right here and the drains for the little lip where the hatch sits. Other than that, didn't do too much more. The car's about picked apart at this point. So here soon, hopefully I'll be able to get to sandblasting the interior and the engine bay. I have to order a stand for an adapter for the engine stand so I can pull that out and put it somewhere. But here soon, should be about finished up. I'll get back to this video a couple days from now. It's coming along. You know the deal, different fit, same hat, different day. I'm gonna be starting by getting all this junk cleaned out of here. I'm tired of crawling through it. Vacuum the car out, wipe it down, clean her up a little bit. Try to get some of the stuff cleaned up out of the engine bay. Just little bits of dirt stuff I gotta pull out. Get that done real quick and then start working on it. Okay, it doesn't look cleaned up, but the whole thing's been vacuumed. A little easier to tell the difference between good metal and rust now. Just happy I didn't see anything too awful underneath all the dirt and grime. Engine bay looks pretty solid. Only thing I did find is in there. I'll get a flashlight to show you easier. But there's some rust. Nothing crazy. Cut it out and fix it so it doesn't spread. But it's looking pretty solid. About have everything off here. I think I'm gonna work on getting the hatch locks, the hatch latch, middle light, rear bumper, get all that taken off. As soon as my Rotary engine stand adapter comes in, we'll be pulling that out. Hopefully this weekend, we'll see. All right, I got a big jump here. Not much changed up front, cleaned up a little bit. I took the wiper arms in there out. I doubt those go back in. I don't think I'm gonna have wipers on this car. Just gonna cover that windshield in Rain X, call her good enough. In here, got the door trims taken out. Driver's pedal, throttle cable, that's all out. And then around back is where I did most of today's work. Bumper, bash bar, center light and lock there. Got the little drainage tubes out. I run from here down into the fender to drain out water inside the hatch lip here. Fuel doors off. Mostly just small stuff today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be getting back on the lift, start pulling the drivetrain out. Need this big beast to get out of my way, and we'll be smooth sailing. So I kind of got busy and forgot to record, but the engine's out. It's kind of a hassle to pull out. We got it. Engine bay's empty. I'm working on getting it cleaned up and ready for paint right now. Steering rack, sway bar, all out. Entire interior is fully, completely taken out, other than those two pedals. Everything that I need to be out of the car is out of the car. Take a look at this. There is a little bit of oil right there, which I shown earlier in the video. Inside the exhaust side, that looks like a flattened apex seal. So this engine definitely got taken out at some point. So that'll need a full rebuild. But thankfully, it's not the engine going back in this car. Talk more about that at a later point once this engine bay's painted. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. The next video will hopefully be painting the engine bay. So if you stick around for that, appreciate you watching this one. And I hope you stick with me as this car gets built and as I figure out how to be better at doing this YouTube thing. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.